How deep do you bury a dead body? Oh, sorry. Good morning. And today's story here. Okay, so there's a bill proposed by the Republicans in Arkansas, or as some people call it, Arkansas. We never really know who's the right. That would effectively punish people for a haircut. I'm no lawyer, but let's take a look at this. This is called an act to create the Vulnerable Youth Protection Act to authorize a civil action for transitioning and castration, sterilization, or mutilation of a minor and for other purposes. So what this is trying to do is prevent minors from transitioning, which I am all for. It's a great idea. I don't think minors should. You're a kid. You don't know any better. So my problem is, see, it has several different parts actually. So let's see, it has definitions of castration, definitions of social transition. This is the one that really gets me here. It means any act by which a minor adopts or espouses a gender identity that differs from the minor's biological sex as determined by the sex organs, chromosomes, and androgynous profiles of the minor, including, without limitation, changes in clothing, pronouns, hairstyle, and name. Okay, so any person who knowingly causes or contributes to the social transitioning of a minor or the castration, sterilization, mutilation of the minor shall be strictly and jointly and severely liable to the minor and the minor's parents for any personal injuries or harm resulting from the social transitioning of the castration, sterilization, mutilation of a minor. Notwithstanding the law, no person shall be held liable under this act for any speech or conduct protected by the First Amendment. Okay, I don't know why they have to say this. Now, once again, I'm not a lawyer, so take everything I say today with a grain of salt, but why do bills do that? Why do you include a line saying, well, if the Constitution says we can't do certain parts, we can't do certain parts? Because that's kind of where my problem with this is the First Amendment here. Let's skip down a little bit. It has a 20-year cause of action or a you can only enact the law. You can't retroactively go back 20 years or more than 20 years. Let's see. Excuse me. Well, actually, you couldn't go back in time. This would only be forward in time, but you know what I mean. Let's see. Acted on the behest of federal agencies or employees that are carrying out duties under federal law. That's probably to protect people at the VA or military hospitals that may end up required to do this. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Recovery. This is really what you can get from this. Nominal damages, compensatory damages, statutory damages, punitive damages, court costs, affirmative defense. The imposition of liability on the defendant will violate constitutional federally protected rights that belong to the defendant personally, or the defendant has standing to assert that the rights of a third party under the tests for a third party standing established by the United States Supreme Court. Here we go. Void defense, ignorance or mistake of law. I've never heard of anyone having a defense saying that you didn't know about the law. You know how many laws there are out there? Legally, you're required to technically know all of them, but that's another day. Defendant may have requirements, provisions. Enforcement of private civil action. So what really bothers me about this is pretty much that third line we had back up top. So let's go back up here. So those are what can happen to you. A lot of bad things. But by encouraging someone to socially transition, you can do a lot of damage to a person by changing their clothing, pronouns, hairstyle, and name. To be fair, I'm not saying minors should do these things, but let's say you're a barber and a girl walks in and says, I think I'm a boy, I want a boy haircut. You give her a short haircut and she walks out next week, says, you know what, this was a bad idea. Goes back and sues you. And I believe you can even go to jail for this. Let me see. I read somewhere that it was 6 months. Waiver of rights, fee shifting. Oh, this is interesting here. Notwithstanding any other law, this chapter in the law of this state shall apply to any socially transitioning of a minor resident of this state, or any castration, sterilization, mutilation, regardless of where it occurred. So this is a law that says if you go somewhere else outside of our jurisdiction and do this, you're not allowed to do that. Now, I don't actually think that's legal, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I take that with a grain of salt. If it is legal, it shouldn't be. A state can't enforce its laws in another state. I just don't think that's right. But the federal government does it too, so I can't really say a whole lot. Severability. This is how they know they're doing something wrong. All constitutionally valid applications of the provisions of this chapter shall be severed from any applications that a court finds to be invalid, preempted, or unconstitutional because it is the intent of the General Assembly and priority that every single valid application of every statutory provision be allowed to stand alone. Basically, what that means is if the Supreme Court goes, yeah, you can't do that because First Amendment, which is what I'm arguing, then the other parts of it are okay. Like, I don't think anybody should have, like, surgeries like that. That is crazy. You know, people are stupid when they're 15. Just saying. I was a stupid teenager. So, I can only imagine other people are stupid teenagers, and they're probably dumber now. You have way more stuff on the internet now that encourages you to do stupid things. Back in my day, it was mostly just stuff that would probably probably end your life. Jump off that. No, don't do that. Let's see. This is just them trying to protect themselves. I don't like laws like this. And full disclosure, I'm a Republican. I vote a Republican, but this is a Republican bill that I can't stand behind. It's just not right. It's too much. It's too much. But what do you guys think? Are you for it? I mean, there's parts of it that are good. I can't say that there's not good parts. You know, the preventing the surgeries for children, great idea. I think that's important to do. But preventing a child from getting a haircut, changing their clothes, it's probably, you know, too much. I'm not saying they should do these things by any means, but it probably goes too far. And I think they know that because they really throw in there, the Constitution says anything's bad, we're not, that part that they say is bad is taken out. The rest stays. I don't know why they added it in at all if they were afraid that it is unconstitutional, but they're acting like Democrats. Democrats do this with gun control. They will pass massive laws that try to limit your rights to your Second Amendment. And then they know full well that the Supreme Court, or even the Supreme Court of the state they're in, is going to roll that back and go, well, you can't actually do that. You have the Second Amendment. You can't just, take all the guns away. But they'll do it, one, because it buys them time. It gets people used to the idea. And it's like, what is it, a frog in boiling water? You throw a frog in boiling water, he'll hop out. Or you put him in cold water, slowly turn up the temperature. And you keep losing rights left and right, but yeah, it's kind of warm. It's not bad. It's okay. It's only a little bit worse than yesterday, instead of massively worse. And that slow change is exactly how they pass laws and get things done. It's an effective strategy. It's a long-term patient strategy, which is why it works. This is too much. I'm a Republican. I'm for most of Republican bills. This is not one of them. But do you live in Arkansas? What do you think? Is this a bill you're going to be for? Is this a bill you're against? Any Democrats out there have a theory on this bill here? Will it pass? All good questions. Well, I will end it here. Have a blessed day.